This is part 5 of the making a Mario level tutorial, and in this part I'm going to show you how to make the star. The star is probably the most complicated item in the first Mario level, so this is going to be a bit longer than the other videos. There's like 5 different parts to making the star, so we'll just jump right in and start with the first part, which is having the star make the player invincible. So the first thing we're going to do is just clear some space. We'll move the fire flower out of the way. And then we're going to copy the fire flower block that we made in the last video, and we can reuse it for the star because the star is also a power-up, so the script will work the same way. So we'll just copy the fire flower, and we'll copy the block. And then we just need to change the event names so that they don't conflict with each other. So we'll change the power-up name to star. Save that. We'll change the image so it looks like a star. And whoops, we'll change the events on the block. Hit 3, we'll change that to hit star. And hit 3, change that to hit star. So we'll just make sure that worked. So we hit this, and yep, the star comes out. So we're okay there. So the next thing we need to do is actually start doing the script for the star. So we'll be doing that on the player because we need to, once he picks up the star, the has power up star function will return true. So we're just going to handle that case in the player's script. So we'll just scroll up so that we've got some more room. Or actually, we need to move this out of the way, the set life points. So we'll just move it up here. So then this is what we're going to be changing, this take damage function here, because we don't want the player to take any damage if they have the star. So in between the damage event and the take damage event function, we're going to need an if to check whether or not the player has the star. So we'll drag out an if. And for the condition, we need to check that he doesn't have the star, because if he doesn't have the star, we want him to take damage. So we'll drag out has power up, and since we set the name of the star to star, type the same thing in here. And then we need to negate that because we want him to take damage if he does not have the star. Okay, so we'll save that and then we'll test it out. So if we normally walk through this guy, our health goes from 3 to 2, then 2 to 1, then 1 to dead. So let's check what happens if we have the star. We get the star, we run through him, but nothing happens. So that's sort of the basic property of the star. So now we'll move on to the second thing, which is handling, picking up, and losing the star. So when the player picks up the star, we're going to need to do a couple things. We're going to need to change the image of the player. Just like in Mario, he sort of like glows when he has the star. We're going to make him use like a yellow image instead of the normal one. And we also need to turn on star killing. So when Mario has the star, he can run through enemies to kill them. So we need to turn that on when he picks up the star. But also, we're going to need to redo those when the star runs out. So say after like 20 seconds, the star doesn't last forever. It goes away. So we're going to need to do the same thing. We're going to need to set the image so that the player goes back to the normal player. And we're also going to need to set the star killing so that it gets turned off and he doesn't kill enemies when he runs through them anymore. So we'll write that script now, and it's still going to be on the player. So we'll move up to a unused area script, and so what we're going to need is power up pickup, because that's what we're trying to handle here. So we're going to need the regular power up pickup and then a delayed power up pickup, because we want to do it, say, we'll start with 3 seconds just because it'll be easier for testing. So we want to reset the image and star killing when he picks it up, and then reset it again 3 seconds after he picks it up when he should lose the star. So we'll drag out a delay as well. And we'll make the duration of the delay 3 seconds. And we're going to need an if as well, because we only want to do this if the player picks up the star. We're not taking away the fire flower or any other power up. It's just for the star. So we'll drag out an if. And then we'll use the same function to check for the star power up as we did when doing the damage. So after he picks up the power up, we have a 3-second delay. And then we also are going to be doing the same stuff when he just picks up the power up. So after the delay, what we're going to want to do is remove the star power up. Not remove, we want remove power up. And then we're going to want to do the 2 things that I mentioned before, which are changing the image and changing the star killing. And we're going to do that by sending an event. So you saw previously that I used send event to send events between different items, but in this case we're going to send an event and we're going to handle that event on the same item. So it's just going to be handled on the player. And the reason I do it this way is just for organization. I could just have the scripts for changing the image and star killing coming off of this, but it would just make this like one block of script way too huge. So we'll just sort of section them off into their own events. So for the names of the events, we'll call it set image and set SK for set star kill. And so we want to do that after, so we do the pickup, delay, and then remove. So when the player loses the star, we want to do these. And also when he first gets the star, we want to do these. So we'll save that, and we can sort of test this out a little bit. We can just make sure that the star runs out. So if I pick up the star and immediately run through the enemy, I don't take damage, but after I've waited a few seconds, I run through and I do take damage. So he's at least losing the star after a delay. We know that works, but now we still have to write the set image and set star kill functions. So we'll move to another unused spot and we'll write those next. So we'll do set image first because it's going to be the easiest to see. We'll drag out a custom event and call it set image. Same thing we did in the send event. And then we'll use the set image event function. And we want the default of 0. So when this gets called, by default, he'll be set to 0, which is just like the blue player that we have already in our game. And then we're going to check for the power-ups to see if he needs to be set to something else. So first we'll check if he's got the fire flower. So we're already doing that up here, so we can reuse that and just sort of drag it down. We'll just get rid of the event. And then after we check if we should set it to the fire image, we'll also check if we should set to the star image. And for the star, we want to set image number 3. And we don't just, so right now, we're checking to see if he has the fire flower, and if he does, we're setting his image to be the fire player image. And then after that, we're checking if he has the star, and if he does have the star, we're setting him to be the star image. But we don't only want to set him to be the star image if he already has the fire flower. We want to do that if he's just the normal guy too. So we need to hook up the set image directly to that. So right after we set to image 0, we want to have a branch going straight to checking if he has the star. So that way, whether he's just the normal guy or the fire guy, he'll get the star image if he has the star. So we can test this out now. So we'll try getting the star, and we turn into the star image, and then after 3 seconds we go back to normal, and then we can get the fire image and we become the fire guy. And now we need to check if it works getting the fire image first. So we'll go over, we'll get the fire image, then we'll get the star, and he should go back to the fire guy, not to the regular guy. And there we go, he goes back to the fire guy. So that's setting up the image. Now we need to do the star killing. So we need to make sure that when the player runs into the enemy, if he has the star, he is going to remove that enemy. So we're going to need to send events to the enemy, because the enemy needs to be aware of whether or not star killing is on or off, because the player script can't remove the enemy. The enemy has to be removed in the enemy script, so we have to tell the enemy with an event that it needs to be removed. So we'll open up the script for the player again, and we'll move to another empty spot, and this time we'll use the custom event setSK that we were sending before. And we're going to need 2 branches here for if he has the star and if he doesn't have the star. If he has the star, we want to say that star killing is on, and if he does not have the star, we want to say that star killing is off. So we'll drag out 2 ifs. And for the condition, we'll need has power up, star. And we'll also need a negation for one of them, for the bottom one. So the negation will go to there, and the regular event or value will go to there. So this will trigger if he doesn't have the star, and this will trigger if he does have the star. So if he does have the star, we want to turn star killing on. So we'll send an event, and we'll call it SK on. And if he doesn't, do the same thing except for SK off. Okay, so that's the player. That doesn't do anything right now because SK on and SK off aren't being handled anywhere. So we're going to need to go to the enemy script and handle those events. So we're going to need to make some room around the damage script. So we'll just drag it out to a more empty area, because this is what's going to be affected by star killing, is when you contact the side of the enemy. So we want an if. We want to check if star killing is on. And we'll drag out a bool that's going to represent star killing. So right now this bool is off, but it's going to be set on or off depending on whether star killing is on or off. And if star killing is on, you want to remove this enemy. Okay, so now we just need to handle the star killing events to set that bool on and off. So we'll do the custom events, SK off, and SK on. And then we'll use set value to set the bool on and off. So the bool is going to be the left-hand side of both of those. And the right-hand side here will just be a true value. And the right-hand side up there will just be a false value. Alright, so now let's test this out. So we got the star, and we can run into the enemy and kill him. And we'll make sure that it gets turned off. Whoops. So if we wait for the star to go away, and then we try and run into him, good, he doesn't get killed. And we'll copy the enemy so that we can make sure it works with two enemies. So we'll get the star, we'll kill the first enemy, and then we won't kill the second enemy. Alright, so we got star killing working. And that's all of the behavior that the star does in Mario. So now we've got all of the items that are in the first Mario level working properly. And now it's just time to build our level. So we're just going to be copying and pasting these enemies and items throughout our level to just build up the whole first level from Mario.